Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan. Once again, and today we're doing another issue review. Today we're looking at Flash Gordon number 7. This is pretty great, actually, and there's something different about this one. This is a new artist here that's been filling in for Will Conrad. It seems like it's only going to be for this issue, maybe the next one as well. I can't remember exactly, but it's pretty interesting. This is Tom Derenick as the fill-in artist. I think that Will Conrad will return, but I can't remember what issue. I think it's 9, right? But I could be wrong there. So, if there is a correction to be made, I'll do it down below. But this was a pretty great issue. It was actually pretty interesting because this one focuses on flashbacks to explain young Flash Gordon's story. And I think that's pretty cool. It's something that we haven't really explored that much in this issue or in this series, and something that is kind of meaningful for new fans of the series, right? If people... this is kind of like a relaunch in order to get new people interested in the Flash Gordon franchise or IP or whatever you want to call it. And if you do that, you need to create an interest in the earlier stuff, in the young Flash Gordon. Now, the Flash Gordon strip, as far as I understand it, didn't really focus on his youth as a human. It focused on him as a space adventurer, right? But that interest in the Flash Gordon before he became a space adventurer feels like the right move in the current kind of fandom atmosphere in order to create interest in the older stuff, right? So I think it was a very well thought out process here. Overall, pretty good stuff here. We open up in the past, 18-year-old Flash Gordon, or I don't know if he's 18 years old, but he's going off to college, so I assume that that's his age. And he breaks in a horse. So he's kind of riding a horse. He's kind of, trying to buck him off. The horse is trying to buck him off. And as he manages to stay on, the horse eventually gets tired, right? And then, so the horse kind of accepts him at this point because it sees that it can't remove the weird person on its back, right? And then he talks with his dad who's watching them, and he's like, I told you I could bring the horse in. And the dad's like, yeah, man, any longer and the horse would have destroyed you, right? But good job, right? So Flash and his dad clearly have some sort of very positive relationship, but also very strict, right? And so as they're kind of finishing up with the horse, a guy comes in, and this guy happens to be a talent scout for Yale's football team. I didn't know Yale had a football team. I guess that this does make sense. But I don't really follow football all that much, actually, at all. So I don't really know anything. But this guy shows up. He wants to see Flash Gordon playing at Yale. They're going to pay for his schooling and all of this. But Flash Gordon's father is like, hey, man, that's not really for you. You should be someone, better, a doctor or something. And you going off to play football, to throw a ball around and be this douchey kind of sports guy is really not what I want for you, right? And the thing is that Flash understands his father, but he's like, but I want to do this. I want to play football, right? And so when his father doesn't allow him, Flash decides to escape in the night and go off to Yale by himself, right? And his father catches him, and eventually they have a conversation about this, and then his dad is like, okay, I will let you. And mostly it's because his mom died, Flash's mom died, and so his dad has been the only one to take care of him. And throughout this time, his father has learned that he has to learn how to be a father throughout the whole experience, and in this case, it's letting his son go, right? And so he decides to allow him to go to Yale to play football, and they're quite happy about this, right? And then this ties into the present line story where we see that Flash is caught by the Fulton, guard or whatever. Fulton is a guy. He's this guy right here. He's kind of like a Hawkman equivalent, right? But more kind of like Volstagg from Thor, if that makes sense. And he is taken to Sky City, or what's left of it, this kind of bubble with a city in it, kind of like Kandor, that is all Hawkman architecture. Which I think is just kind of Italian, Firenze type architecture, right? Florence type architecture, which I think is cool. I like it a lot, but it's not that special, right? It's not really like Hawkman architecture or whatever, but it works. It's cool. I like it. And then as he's there, and he's in an audience with Voltan's son, whose name is Talon, decides to speak up and yell and challenge Flash to a battle, kind of a ritual duel for his life, right? And the thing is that if Flash wins, which Talon says he won't, Flash can kill Talon and go free. And if he loses, he'll be killed, right? So there really is no benefit to this battle because they can already just kill him, but Talon is an impetuous young man And Voltan allows it to happen because it would make him look bad, basically, to not allow it. And so Flash fights Talon and quite easily beats him. And I think we even see him use like a football tackle in order to take him out. And because Flash is a good guy, and because Flash needs Voltan's help, he decides to spare Talon's life, which is now his, in exchange for a private audience with Voltan, right? Voltan, accepts because he wants to save his son. And then he interacts with Voltan. He's like, we used to be friends. I'm sorry about what happened. Explain it to me, please, because I don't know, right? And Voltan explains that when the planet Mongo exploded, it kind of crumbled slowly, and everyone kind of realized what was happening, and they were trying their best to make sure that their cities could stay in one piece, but it wasn't really possible. However, Dale Arden, Flash's girlfriend, actually stepped up at this point and helped everyone survive, and she became very powerful and meaningful through her efforts, and so she was eventually elevated to the place of Empress, right? And then she married this character called Malin. And apparently Malin is way worse than Ming. He's like a grade A certified psycho. And it's kind of unclear why this happened. Voltan doesn't really go into it. I'm sure that that's what we're going to explore going forward. And this is kind of explaining to us why Dale Arden is the Empress, which is good. But it doesn't really explain why she acts the way she does. Although we can kind of extrapolate at this point that it's because she's trying to emulate Malin in some way, while probably not being bad, in order to kind of maintain peace, in order to not let Malin become like a crazy, horrible emperor, right? And kind of ruin the life of the people that have survived the destruction of Mongo. I'm not really sure if that's true or not, but it does seem kind of like plausible, right? So we'll see what happens going forward. But this is a pretty good issue in terms of explaining to us more about Flash Gordon's past, and also kind of finally letting us know what happened after the destruction of Mongo, right? Which is great. I really, really liked it. It was not that exciting in terms of like the fights. I didn't necessarily care too much because I know Flash is going to survive, and Talon clearly seemed to be not a good fighter, or very good fighter, but not on Flash's level. So there was no excitement to the battle, right? But it was fine. It worked out. It wasn't really about the battle. It was about connecting Flash's youth and his father's, interest with this Talon character who represents Flash in this case, right? It was pretty cool. I quite liked it. But overall, good issue. Let me know what you guys thought down below. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys later.